So with the price of egg white powder going up so much recently, I have had a lot of people very interested in trying to reduce egg white powder in their egg white bread as much as possible. I have experimented quite a bit with recipes that omit egg white powder altogether, but so far nothing has worked out. So my best bet is just to reduce the egg white powder as much as possible. My best loaf recipe calls for 100 grams of egg white powder. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to attempt, is to use 1.5 cups of fresh egg whites, and then just try to use half a cup or 40 grams of the egg white powder. And that will reduce the egg white powder in the recipe from 100 grams to 40 grams, which is a pretty significant reduction. And we'll see how it works out. Besides reducing the egg white powder, omitting the water, of course, and adding in the fresh egg whites, everything else will remain the same. I'll be using some unflavored gelatin. Any kind of gelatin will work. A couple tablespoons of arrowroot starch, arrowroot powder, arrowroot flour. They're all the same thing. And as always, this is an optional ingredient. If you want the lowest carb count possible, you can omit it. I'll also be using some cream of tartar, some salt, of course. And after I have whipped up the egg whites, I will add in a little bit of butter powder and a little bit of yolk powder. First thing I'm going to do is add my 1.5 cups of egg whites to the bowl. And this for me was about 11 egg whites. It will depend on the size of your eggs, but usually if you measure out to 1.5 cups, you'll be good. Now I'm going to sprinkle my 1 teaspoon of gelatin powder over the top of the egg whites. I just sprinkle it over there just because I don't want it to clump at all. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder, and that comes to about 16 grams. 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar. I do a lot of cream of tartar because I like the sour taste that it gives, kind of like sourdough. But if you don't like that sour taste, you can reduce it to half a teaspoon. Next, I'm going to do 1/4 cup of allulose, and that should be about 36 grams. Next is 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I always use Redmond real salt. So some recipes that call for fresh egg whites will have you whip the fresh egg whites up first before adding in any egg white powder. And other ones will add in the powder at the beginning and whip it all up together. I think both ways would probably work fine. This time I'm going to go ahead and add the egg white powder at the end along with the butter powder and the yolk powder. Just gonna get this into my mixer. And of course, whenever you are dealing with fresh egg whites, you have to be super, super careful not to get any drips of water or fat or anything else in the mixer, or else it can hinder the egg whites mixing and whipping up. I'm just gonna start my mixer on low and increase the speed gradually to high, and then I will whip it for 3 to 5 minutes until I have it very, very stiff. The egg whites are very stiff now, almost like shaving cream. I'm gonna put the mixer on like low to medium and slowly add in my powders. I did 40 grams of the egg white powder, 2 teaspoons of the yolk powder, and 1/4 cup or 24 grams of the butter powder. And I just gave it a mix to make sure it was all incorporated. Gonna stir real quick with my spatula to make sure everything is fully incorporated. I do have my oven preheated to 325, and I have my pan lined with parchment paper like usual. I do have a video on how I line my pan with parchment paper that I will link up in the cards for anyone that's curious about that. I do also have a lot of people ask if you can make the egg white bread without any powders at all, including the egg white powder. And I have really tried hard with a few ideas of how to make that happen, and it just never ends up happening. You at least need a little bit of egg white powder to make this recipe bread-like at all. If anyone discovers a way to make it bread-like without egg white powder, definitely would be interested in trying it. I think some people have had success with some whey protein powder, but that's like a hit and miss type thing. So I'll keep trying, and I'll let you know if there's anything that I run across that works. I'm gonna throw this in the oven at 325 for 40 minutes. All finished. The loaf looks absolutely beautiful. I did not let it sit in the oven after I turned the oven off. With the fresh egg white versions of this recipe, a lot of times it's recommended to let them sit in the oven after you turn it off, and that helps it not fall. I just wanted to try taking it out and seeing how it did. So if it does sink in, I will probably next time leave it in the oven for 15 minutes at the end. But I wanted to see, because with the whole egg powder and with the butter powder, it may not have that tendency to sink. And I just wanted to test that out. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the pan and let it cool here on this wire rack until it is completely cool to the touch. So far, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Come on. So I did make one loaf with my original best bread recipe with all powder plus water, just so we could see the differences between the two. They both look good. This one sunk in and kind of got wrinkly on the sides. It didn't really sink in terribly, a little bit, but it's not awful. So if you want to try to avoid that, maybe do the 15 minutes in the oven after you turn the oven off, and that might help that. I do feel that this one feels gushier, a little bit wetter. This one's very firm. So I'm worried that the inside of this one is going to be not super pleasant. But let's go ahead and cut into them and see. I will cut the no fresh egg white version first. So there is the inside texture, nice and soft, not wet, and got some real nice air bubbles there. Now for the fresh egg white version. So I'm really happy with that texture. It's still got those nice big air bubbles. It does feel softer than the all powder one. It's not terribly wet. It is a little bit wet, but it's not as wet as I've seen some other breads turn out. And so I don't think it's a deal breaker, actually. You could probably get it even closer to this by increasing the egg white powder by about 10 grams. So using 50 grams instead of 40, that's probably what I would try next. But this is not bad. So if you're looking to do as little egg white powder as possible, you can get away with 40 grams for sure. I'll do a quick rip of the fresh egg white version. It's definitely softer and more delicate than the all powder. This has a lot of structure to it and it's more dry. So there is a difference there, but I wouldn't say that this one is unpleasantly soft or wet. I think it's still in the realm of very good. Just do a quick taste test here. Yes, it's super soft. It's very melt in your mouth. It is quite tasty. I think it's definitely a win. And I think this is a great option if you're looking to cut down the cost of your egg white bread loaves, or if you have a lot of fresh eggs available to you and you want to be able to use the fresh egg whites. This is a really great option. Thanks so much for coming along on this experiment in the kitchen today. I hope you guys are doing great, and I will see you again in the next video.